So here we are again. Welcome everybody wherever you are joining us in this live stream. We are at the fabulous Yas Marina circuit, and you see the conditions here in the Middle East, in the UAE, are just wonderful. And when I say we welcome you, it's my pleasure to have Harry King again next to me here in the commentary booth as we are heading into the qualifying session for today's race. The temperature, track temperature is 32 degrees Celsius. You see all the information about this Formula One track, where we will see the season finale again in the Formula One in December this year. But now it's January and here we are, and I learned a bit. I have a pullover today because it's quite cold, quite chilly here in our commentary booth. But Harry, great to have you here, and I think we're looking forward to seeing some more race action today. Yeah, I think we're certainly a lot cooler than what the drivers will be experiencing this weekend. Yeah, heading into qualifying 2 now. The race produced a lot of intense action. Well, not a lot of overtaking, but I think the competitiveness and the lap times that were posted were quite fierce, and I think a lot of drivers are wanting to put their wrongs and put them in the right place for the race upcoming today. So this qualifying is going to be very important. And what we've seen yesterday in qualifying was that the track was very sandy. So a lot of drivers were waiting quite a long time to do their fast laps, as they only have one set of tires on Saturday for qualifying and the race. And this is a little bit different today. So we are hoping to see all these guys very early on track in the session. Yeah, so obviously they're going to be putting those tires that they used in race 1 to good use in qualifying 2. So they'll use the first 15 minutes of this session to help get their eye in, get a bit of a feel for how the track is. We saw that there was a lot of sand on the circuit yesterday, so I think the drivers are going to be very grateful for this extra set of tyres that they can use at the start of qualifying, just to get their eye in, know what the track is feeling like, pick their references, so when they do get the new tyres on, they know exactly where to pace the car so they can produce the best lap time. But yeah, the drivers here sitting nervously awaiting. They're all in the cars a lot earlier than they were yesterday, so I think what you mentioned about the drivers doing a few more laps earlier on is going to be true. Here we see Basha Madini, the current champion. Yeah. Hello, Basha. The current champion in the Pro-Am class. He was on the podium yesterday with a second place, and well, will be exciting to see. I'm sure he's longing for another victory in this class. And as you mentioned, we've seen, let's say, a quite controlled race yesterday. I mean, it was the third one. We are in a back-to-back race weekend after Dubai, and this is, let's say, the last shot after quite a demanding time. So do you think they will give it all they have for that last one? Yeah, I mean, we're coming towards, we passed the midway part of the season. Now we're, coming into the closing phase. So the drivers are all very keen to close up those gaps and to beat their rivals. Yas Marina was, as we see here on the imagery, he was very strong at the start of the race yesterday. So his qualifying was also very good. He was very close to Theo Overhaus's pole time. So yeah, I think if he hooks the lap together, brings the sectors in all one by one and puts it all into one lap, he will be looking very competitive. So yeah, excited to see what they can manage. And as we've seen, Yannis Diak, and you talked about him, I had a little chat with him this morning, so I'm going to ask our director in the Obi van, maybe he already has that little interview we just made a few minutes ago, so we can hear what Yannis Diak is longing for at, well, in the qualifying session, and for sure for that race, as he's longing for his very first victory. So let's hear him. Janne, you had a great race yesterday, but the start was a kind of problem. Bring us a little bit through it, because also Theo, who was on pole right next to you, also didn't have the best one.
Yeah, I think of us, Colin had the best start, but mine was bad, and Theo had some wheel spin, so we went, I think, 3 right into turn 1. But yeah, after that it was just a normal race. In the lap 1 I can fight a bit with Theo, but after that he put a gap to me and I put the gap to P3. So yeah, after that it was very normal.
And you were very fast in qualifying yesterday, even when you haven't been happy with your lap. What kind of conditions do you expect now for the qualifying session? As we've seen, the track was very sandy yesterday.
Yeah, I think it's the same now. We have now also run with used tires, so yeah, I can learn a bit of that, and yeah, let's see.
Ready for the first pole position?
Yeah, for sure.
Good luck for that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Of course, he's ready for the first pole position. I'm sure that does mean a lot for a driver.
Yeah, I think when you can score that first pole position, you definitely sort of get the monkey off your back, and certainly you'll be confident and keen. You've known it, you've done it before, so you'll probably approach qualifying in a bit more of a calmer mental state of mind. And yeah, I think today's looking positive, but obviously Tiro Overhouse, he's been strong all throughout the testing on Thursday and Friday. So yeah, it's going to be a hard fight as we see the drivers now taking to the track, getting up to temperature, their brakes and their tyres on this older set of tyres, remember. So we're going to expect the lap times to be good at this stage of the qualifying session, but you can really anticipate another second or a second and a half even so from when they do get onto the second set of tyres on the closing stages of this qualifying session.
Was for Theo Overhaus already his 5th consecutive win in the championship. Quite amazing how dominant the young man from Germany is so far in this season. Here we have the man in the DHL yellow and red color, starting number 34. Of course, he's leading in the championship. 6 victories so far out of 7 races. And Harry, you have been testing here for 2 days. Give us an idea of how much fun this almost futuristic track that was built by architect Hermann Thielke, who is responsible for so many tracks in the Formula One calendar. It was opened in 2009. How much fun is that track?
Yeah, it's such a fantastic venue. I think if you just look at the surroundings and how aesthetically pleasing it is just on the eye. It makes the circuit a joy to drive as well. The corners and the difference in technical sectors that they have here. You don't have to set the car up just for one particular sort of range of corners. You've got to try and set it up across nearly every single range of corner that you could possibly have. So, of course, you've got long, big straights where you want to trim out the rear wing, really ensure that you've got the best sort of straight line performance, but also into Sector 3 that we see Tiro Overhouse entering now. It's really, really tight, so you want to have a good, stable platform of the car, even the low speed. So you want to find a good compromise on what feels best for you. As we see the drivers now, just backing up a little bit, trying to space themselves out. Everything's up to temperature. The tyre pressures will be ready, the brakes will be ready, and they'll be warming up going into the first few laps of qualifying. Of course, these laps won't stand for the overall lap time because they're on older tyres, but it's very good for the drivers to help give themselves a bit of an idea on what to expect later on. As we have a car in the wall at turn 1. I think that's a red flag that's just been called. So this will put a pause onto qualifying. So the time will be stopped. Bit unfortunate. No lap time competitively was posted as the red flag will fly there.
Yeah, this is the man who is joining the championship for the first time. A man from China, Li Chengyu. So, as you said, we see the red flag, and here we see a big lockup by the man with car numbers 18.
Yeah, it just seems he's got it locked and just can't quite release that front left tyre. And then once he's onto this dusty part of the track, which is never used to see the fronts end lock up, there's no grip whatsoever, and he's almost a passenger at that point. So, yeah, small mistake at the start of the braking, ended with some quite big consequences. I'm sure he'll be kicking himself for that, and I don't think it'll be very likely that they'll get that car back out for the end of qualifying. So, yeah, something you never really want to do is make a mistake on the older tyre when, you know, the lap time isn't as valuable and as critical. But it's part of the process. This is why all the drivers are out here. They're preparing, they're learning, they're trying to master their craft when their other inaugural Carrera Cup seasons or Porsche Super Cup seasons will start.
So we see on provisional pole position with the old tires, it's Colin Bönighausen, who was a little frustrated yesterday. He finished the race on 4th position. Sure, he wants to strike back today. Here we have him in the fire car, orange and white livery. So the cars are heading now down again back to pit lane.
Good to see the drivers out, all okay. So I think it's just a case of more damaged pride than anything else in this scenario. I think the barrier doesn't look like it's been damaged too much. So the stoppage, once the car is removed, shouldn't be too long. And yeah, I expect maybe another 5 minutes and we'll be back on to green flag racing. But this poses a bit of a strategy now for the teams. They may want to go onto their new tyres a little bit earlier because obviously 5 minutes is now gone. They're not going to get many more laps out of those used tyres before they need to switch to the new, because you never want to leave yourself with too short a time to try and produce a lap in qualifying. So yeah, the Saudi racing cars looks like they're sticking to their guns. They're staying on the used tyres for a bit to give their drivers a bit more of an idea on what to expect. But see how that flag's flying there. There's quite a lot of wind picking up around the circuit now. So obviously this will bring a bit of dust, a bit of sand, and also a bit of a tailwind into some corners, which is the reason why we see the car at turn 1 maybe struggling a little bit, because down in the pit lane was a little bit more windy than usual.
Yeah, we had that yesterday as well. I think especially in the morning it's a bit more windy. Also the reason why we have always the sand on track, as we see the young man from China. And yesterday, you mentioned it, the Saudi racing team with a big relief in the race finally had that result everybody in the team was longing for. And I had a little chat this morning with the rookie champion of last year, Saud Al Saud, after he clinched pole position and the race win in the Pro-Am class yesterday. So let's see what he said us this morning. Saud Al Saud, after a perfect day yesterday with the pole position and the race win, how much are you longing now for that last race day of these back-to-back events that were for sure very demanding for everyone?
So yeah, like you said, yesterday was a clean sweep, P1 in qualifying and P1 in the race. I'm sure the other guys from Pro-Am are going to push harder today. They won't let it pass. So today is going to be a day where I need to really make it even harder and get even better results, you know. And yeah, I'll try my best to make it a habit.
And seems like you really had a great start yesterday. Bring us a little bit through it.
Yeah, so the initial start wasn't the best. I believe Khalid and Bashar had a better start than me. They were catching up at turn 1. But I tried to defend my position as much as I can, and after that it worked, and I followed the pros, and I just kept on being consistent the whole race, you know, and today I'm planning to do the same thing, hopefully.
And I could imagine it was a great evening and also a great night for the whole team. Also Khaled was on the podium and success, some kind of relief for the whole team?
Exactly, I mean, me and Khalid, we were both happy, you know, both of us on the podium in Pro-Am, and that's something we're really working hard on. We're really fast in all the practices and all the previous rounds, and we didn't make it happen in the race. This time we did, and hopefully we'll continue doing that.
Good luck for that, crossing fingers. Thank you, Saud.
Thank you so much.
So that was Saud Al Saud, our race winner in the Pro-Am class yesterday. As we still see the car of Li Shengyu, the man from China. So, well, everybody is waiting to start the session again. All the cars are in the pit lane. How difficult is it for the drivers to stay in the rhythm in a qualifying session when you have to wait?
Yeah, I mean, as a driver, the qualifying is probably the most intense part of a whole entire race weekend. I think, you know, your emotions are far more worked up than they are for this moment now exactly than they are for the start of the race. And yeah, when something like a red flag does disrupt the way that things go, obviously the drivers will now get a few laps left on those used tyres to further their knowledge on the circuit and the conditions. So yeah, it's never an ideal situation, but the nice thing about this is that it's the same for everybody. So you've just got to put that behind you, maximize what you've got, and try and put it all together.
Yeah, and also Paul Spooner, the team manager of the Saudi racing team, was relieved yesterday after the team showed quite a good pace throughout the season so far, but just the results haven't been there. At the back we see the blue car of Sam Shaheen, Pro-Am driver, who is also joining us for the first time in the championship from Australia. And he's yesterday we spoke about it. He's running a racetrack not so far from Adelaide in Australia, and you will have the pleasure to be there. Tell us about it.
Yeah, he's a great character. Obviously, he's come to, another sort of climate, around another sort of racetrack. And, in fact, I did a track walk with him on the Wednesday. And, you could see his mind was racing, taking a few ideas that he can take back home. And, I thoroughly look forward to experiencing the circuit that they are speaking so highly about. And lots of people said many great things about it. So, I'm sure he's thoroughly enjoying this weekend, though, however, jumping back into a Cup car, getting some preparation for his Carrera Cup Australia.
Have you been racing in Australia so far?
I did, not long ago. About 2 months ago, I took to the Carrera Cup Australia at Bathurst. In fact, racing this man right here, Jackson Walls. He was the championship leader at the time. He was a strong pair of hands. He gave me, bit of pressure, a bit of a hard time. But, absolute respect for all these guys who come from all around the world, and that's the beauty of this Carrera Cup racing, is that the car is totally universal. You can take it anywhere in the world and you can jump in it, and as long as you know where it goes left and where it goes right, you should be okay. And I think that's a really cool thing to have, and it means that we draw so many different nations all into one place, which we have here in the Carrera Cup Middle East. So,
and we can hear him. I also had a little chat with Jackson Walls. Here he is. Jackson Walls, yesterday again on the podium. I think it was your third consecutive podium in the championship, and now we're heading into the qualifying for Sunday's race. So, well, is it maybe about the fight for pole position today? How optimistic are you for the session?
Maybe, I'm not too sure. I just have to work on from the mistakes I did yesterday and see where that puts me. But yeah, definitely need to qualify a bit further up.
And bring us a little bit through your race yesterday. It seems like you, well, at the start maybe there was something possible and you grabbed that third place. Bring us a little bit through that.
I just capitalised on other people's mistakes, and in the middle of the race the car really turned on and I was able to get closer to Stiak, but couldn't get there in time, unfortunately.
And in the beginning it seemed like Colin could put some pressure on you, but after that you had everything under control. So was it a kind of relaxed and laid-back race, or what was it?
Not necessarily. I was still pushing quite hard and wanted to get to second place, but yeah, sort of just managed the race from the start.
And we've seen yesterday that the track was very green, a lot of sand everywhere, and all of the drivers were waiting quite long to do their fast laps. What kind of session will we see now?
I think it could be any lap this morning. The winds are a lot different than it was yesterday.
And you have the old tires from yesterday, so hopefully we do not have to wait too long to see you out on track.
Yeah, very unlikely. I think we'll all be going from the beginning.
And how much are you looking forward to that race day? I mean, a full packed day after these back-to-back events, quite demanding and challenging for everyone, but I could imagine you want to give it your own.
Yeah, still going to put in 100%. If anything, I'd wish there was another race weekend next week. But yeah, just going to put my 100% in.
Thank you very much and good luck for that.
Thank you.
Very modest, the man from Australia, 3 times on the podium in the last 3 races. And Harry, what do you think? Is it possible for him to grab pole position today?
Yeah, I mean, his pace has been strong throughout the weekend. He's definitely putting in the work all throughout Thursday and Friday. Yeah, I caught him over my shoulder, reviewing my data, reviewing my onboard. Yeah, trying to pick up some more pace here and there. But yeah, I really believe if he does pull all the sectors together, he's got the capability of putting the car on pole, or definitely on the front row. And yeah, I would like to see that happen. Obviously, he's a nice guy. He's been working hard for it, and definitely had a positive weekend last weekend in Dubai Autodrome. So he wants to follow suit and definitely walk away with another podium, that's for certain.
So now things are getting serious and exciting, because I guess we will see some drivers already on a new set of tires, and maybe other ones still on the old ones. And we have 23 minutes to go, and it's Colin Berninghausen who is on pole so far in the pro class. Then we have the two, Walls and Wallace. Not so easy. It's Jackson Walls and James Wallace, the two guys you're working with. And then we see the first man from the Pro-Am class, Søren Sprang, the champion in the Pro-Am class in the Porsche Carrera Cup Germany.
See you guys all now stack up a little bit into the last sector. So they've only done really one warm-up lap. So this is what leads me to believe a lot of those are still on that used tyre, which still had a bit of heat in it. So yeah, I think you can definitely expect these guys to start posting in some more competitive lap times. I think that 1 minute 58.8 from Colin will be yeah, demolished in a couple of laps' time. Obviously, Theo set himself up directly behind Colin, so he has a good reference, a good car to chase. But Colin's going to be full focus on that clear bit of track in front of him and try and post some laps. And yeah, with about 22 minutes on the clock, I think these guys will maybe get 2, maybe 3 laps out of this used tyre, so not a lot. That red flag's really disturbed them quite a bit, just a little bit wide out of that last corner there. Probably we'll see that getting picked up by the stewards, but like we mentioned, these lap times will not really stand until the very end of the qualifying session when they do get that new set of tyres on. So yeah, this section here, 6 and 7, this is the really complex high-speed entry into a really low speed. You're down into first gear in these cars, and you just pull second gear coming through that right curve, just hoping the car will settle nicely. If you get a little bit of oversteer, that's lap time wasted, and then you're holding the tightest line as you can. Now into turn 9. Colin now will be hitting the rev limit just in 5th gear. Car is now braking on the tarmac change with a wider approach. Let the car seep all the way up that camber, use that to your advantage, and then slingshot the car back again. And here you're going to have to really think, keep the car smooth, don't get too greedy. You're braking whilst turning, and no ABS on these pro cars, so it's very easy to lock up. Theo gets a nice approach into the turn at 10, 11, 12 complex. Car looks stable, the rear is checking up nicely, and here you're just keeping it off the walls. Bit of traffic for Stiak in front. Colin's following through, won't get disturbed. I think Theo is looking the racy pair of hands at the moment though.
I could listen to you for the rest of the qualifying doing that. How important is the slipstream here?
Slipstream is huge, but it's not everything, because if you're following a car too closely in that final sector, like I mentioned, you're going to pick up that dirty air, and that's going to compromise you a bit. If you could just have a car in front of you for sector 2 and get it out the way, that would be the ideal scenario. But look, not even 2 laps into the old tyre run, the Frank Funke team are now coming in to put on the new set of tyres. So 20 minutes on the clock, you can expect them to be leaving the pits with about 17, 16 minutes left remaining. That's a perfect amount of time. I think they don't want to be rushing themselves or pressuring one another to try and do a lap time.
We've also seen Basha Madini, the man from the Pro-Am class, changing tires now.
So yeah, Jackson Wall is now the quickest car at the moment on the used tyre, 158.3. Looking not too bad, but I think Theo was a 10th quicker in that first sector and about the same in sector 2. So if Theo did finish that lap, I think it'd be very close between the pair of them. So yeah, I think Jackson can probably hear us from up here. He's definitely keen for that pole position.
And also yesterday it was just the blink of an eye between our pole setter Theo Overhaus and Jannes Diak. And these are the guys we are expecting again to fight for pole position.
So a little bit held up there by the GP car. That's Jackson once again, followed by James Wall. So these guys are looking to push for another lap. It'll be interesting to see if they dive into the pits or not. You would kind of expect them to do one more lap after this, which they are doing. So now let's see what lap time Jackson can improve upon. A 158.3 is where it stands at the moment, and a 157.2. So yeah, clipped off a second off of that. So I think he'll be in the right headspace now, ready for the new tyres. He'll just want to be back in the pit box with the new tyres on and ready to go again. So
here it was a little off track, and it's interesting to see how much sand is there when you're off the race line. And it's Janez Diak now with the best lap time, a 1:56.936. He had a purple third sector, but times are dropping now.
exactly, yeah, the bit of dust will be getting wiped away, the tyres and the pressures will be coming up, and also the drivers will be getting their eye in on how the track conditions are. So as a driver, you really want to end this session in a good mood, in a good routine, not making any mistakes, no lockups. So when you do get that new tyre on, you're in the correct headspace and you're ready for it. So yeah, 17 minutes on the clock. They've got about another minute until they can get back to pit lane. So their engineers will be rushing them back along, saying, get back in the pits as quickly as you can. There's not much time on the clock. And yeah, the experienced mechanics and that we have out here in the Middle East will be switching those tyres in a couple of minutes, and they'll be back on the pit exits, ready to see what they can put in for qualifying.
The 16-year-old young man from Germany, he will turn 17 in March. Fastest car on track so far, ahead of Jackson Walls. And third, it's Saud Al Saud, the man from the Pro-Am class who was on pole in this class yesterday, took race win yesterday. We've heard the interview we've made this morning with him. Big relief for the whole team. I'm sure he's full of self-confidence, a lot of tailwind for a team. I think you can tell us how much pressure it is for everybody when you know you have the pace, but just the results are missing.
As a driver, it's so frustrating, you know. You see the other drivers stepping on the podium and, you know, you're maybe 1 or 2 steps below or not even on it at all. And that always bugs with you a little bit. And also, when the team is putting in the maximum effort, you feel like you take a bit of responsibility, because if the car can do it and you are not the one that's completing the job, you know, you can sometimes feel a bit guilty from that aspect. So, yeah, to make up for it with both cars on the podium, yeah, I think that's a big relief for the team and thoroughly well deserved. I see the effort that these two boys put in, and they work really hard at it. And Paul Spoon is basically trying to ensure that no stone is left unturned. I see them, you know, on the track on the Wednesday, they're cycling round, getting their fitness up. And before every session, they're out the back doing some exercises to sharpen up. So every time they're in the car, that they're well prepared and ready. And yeah, you see that at the moment, they're 3rd and 4th. So carrying that form, carrying that confidence from yesterday, only separated by just a 10th. But like I mentioned, the new tyres are going on now. So the lap times will probably be dropping by about a second. So that's where you got to deliver the time.
As we see Leo Willert from Austria, the man who's racing in the AM class, the ambitious class. And I think it's good to see we have 3 different classes here, and these semi-professional drivers that are so enthusiastic about motorsport and just want to have these experiences being on a racetrack where normally the Formula One is racing, and just giving their all, and well, racing with also these young drivers that for sure have a professional career later on in their life. But how much respect do you feel for guys like Leo Willert?
They're awesome guys. I think they're super cool. I mean, if I can be as quick as them when I'm a similar age, I'll be very happy. I mean, Leo,
I'm not sure if you want to hear that.
No, but Leo, he's a really great character. I speak to him a fair bit over the weekend, and he really is, you know, he's so competitive. He wants to be quick. He wants to be up there with us guys, and I see him taking his helmet off after a bad session, and he's a little bit annoyed with himself. Maybe he didn't do the best job, and yeah, he's driving these awesome circuits, experiencing some great things. up against some really good competition. There's no better place to measure himself than against the best. So, yeah, you see him still pushing on now. I think he's one of the guys who did go on the new slick tyres a little bit earlier, and now he's just maximising his track time. Sometimes for him, I think you'll find it a bit easier doing more laps than having less laps on a better tyre. So see him attacking, really pushing hard into turn 1, giving it everything he can, staying within the track limits that lap because the last lap was deleted. As Sam Shaheen is now coming to join the party.
Yeah, I had a little chat with Leo during the testing days here, and he was unhappy, couldn't find his rhythm. But now we see him on 8th position with a 1:59.375. As we are, of course, waiting for all the drivers. Here we see Sam Shaheen coming out of the pits.
Yeah, Leo Willett there picking his markers, clipping all those apexes, getting the lap together. He's just hooked up another decent first sector. So, yeah, he'll be hungry and keen to try and eclipse his current best time of a 1:59.3. See him in the car there, looking at the dash a little bit, braking hard down into this turn 9 complex, using that banking like I mentioned earlier, running the car nice and wide to slingshot it out for a good exit. And now I think this is a cool section that everyone enjoys.
And I see a purple sector 1 from Theo Overhaus and a personal best sector 2. But he's in the pits, so didn't finish that lap. As we still have Janis Stiak on provisional pole position.
So I can hear some cars, even in this commentary booth. Just how loud these cars are, you can hear them starting up in the background. So I think Sam Shahin's maybe about a minute or two ahead of the other guys, which probably not a bad thing. It means he'll squeeze in another lap, which is always nice for somebody like him, of course. Yeah, never driving this circuit before, never actually racing in the Middle East, I don't think. So yeah, I think he's opted for the 1 lap extra strategy, or maybe just having a bit more of an easier cool up and warm up lap to get everything up to temperature. See him weaving there side to side, making sure the front tyres are warmed up. The funny thing is with these cars, the rear tyres come in almost immediately, but the front tyres take a little bit more time, and obviously being a rear engine car, there's a lot of weight on the rear, so to get those front tyres working perfectly, you've really got to work it hard, and it's a bit of a black art. You've really got to master it, and seems like he's got a good idea on that. He knows exactly what he's doing, has a good warm-up process. He's working with the brake pedal as well. Not only does the weaving create some temperature, also using the brakes from the core temperature of the tyre. So you use the brake disc and the brake pads. That creates a lot of heat. If you were to go put your hand just above the front of the car, you wouldn't believe how hot it gets by the end of a race. So using that to your advantage is a good thing. See the Saudi car there, flickering the brake lights, doing exactly what I mentioned. Always a good thing to do on the first few laps.
And we know how important qualifying is in a sprint race. Same for you in the Porsche Mobil 1 Super Cup. And we thought that overtaking, especially when coming to turn 6, 7 or turn 9, would be an option, but I haven't seen that yesterday. So what did James and Jackson say? Is it not possible to get to make a move there?
I think, yeah, with the temperature and I think the opportunity for overtaking, you really only have the first few laps, to be honest. When there's a little bit of a difference in tyre pressures, maybe you can speak with your engineer and your team, say, hey, I need the car to come in a little bit sooner and I'll manage it at the end of the race. But if you're someone like Theo Overhaus, who was starting on pole position, he might have said, look guys, I want to be there at the end of the race. I'll manage at the start, hold the car behind me, which he did just that to Janis Stiak on the first few laps. And then you saw him stretching his legs and opening the gap up. So I think there's a little bit of a difference in strategy. But as for overtaking opportunity, I expected a little bit more. So let's hope that they can put on a bit more action later on up for us today.
10 minutes to go. Things are getting exciting. We see all the guys on new tires now, ready to fight for pole position. It's the second day of racing here at the Yas Marina circuit. as we see the car of Saud Al Saud, yesterday's winner in the Pro-Am class. He's currently on 3rd position overall, but now times will be dropping. This is the fastest man so far, waving, as you said, bringing the right tire pressure, tire temperature into his tires. Janus Diak. Second yesterday in the race. And as he said, he's ready for his first pole position.
Yeah, it would be a nice sight to see, to be honest. He's put in a lot of work throughout the early start of the season, so he's working hard, and this pace is so close to getting that pole position, so it would be nice to see. As you see, he's doing the last few bits of weaving before setting himself up. You see him go super wide into the last corner, square the car off, get a really good exit, and now it's time to pull the pin. Got a nice bit clear track in front. He's opted for 2 more laps of warming up, so probably didn't feel like the tyre pressures came in soon enough. So he's proved me wrong there, but yeah, 8 minutes on the clock still, so there's no rush. He'll be crossing the line with another 2 minutes time from now, so that'll enable him to get another 4 laps of pushing.
And of course, we're waiting for a quick lap of Theo Overhaus. So far, he's only on 11th position overall.
Leo Villa, we just see there, he's done 2 personal bests on that last sector. He's also improved his best lap time. He did a 1 minute 58.1, but that was taken away due to track limits, so definitely a lot more potential there if he did manage that lap time. He'd be up into 5th position by now, so for a for an AM driver, that's very, very impressive. So let's hope he can do a nice clean lap without the track limits. He's definitely on great form this morning.
Well, we have a lot of runoff area, no gravel at all, so track limits always an issue.
More or less, keeps the stewards very, very busy, particularly around here. But the way the curbs are designed, they're quite aggressive on the way out, so you don't really want to be running them, and to be honest, there isn't much advantage in having them anyway. I'd say maybe 1 or 2 tenths or 3 tenths if you really get it just right, but of course, there you're going to pick up a penalty, or even worse, get your lap time deleted in qualifying. I think that's got really big repercussions for the races, so you definitely don't want to be doing that. But I think we're seeing our first push lap from Khaled Al Ahmadi. He's just completed, Saud Al Saud has done the purple in Sector 2, the car that we see with us just now. So it'll be interesting to see what the first competitive lap time would be on the new tyres. So approaching Sector 3 now, probably won't be taking maximum risk on the braking into here, because first lap you want to know where the car is standing, how much grip do the tyres have, and how much pressure can you load into that brake pedal. So keeping his nose clean, keeping the apex speed up, using that new tyre to your advantage. And now we've got the 2 double right-handers to finish off the lap.
Of course, we see a lot of purple sectors now. And Saud Al Saud made it, so he's the fastest man on track so far. 1:56.512. 2 personal and 1 purple sector, Sector 2. And now his teammate is even faster, Khaled Al Ahmadi. So it seems really that it was a big relief yesterday, the result. They are coming with tailwind into the session, into the day. Where do we have Basha Madini? So far on 6th place. The current champion was also on the podium yesterday. And we see 2 purple sectors from Theo Overhaus.
Yeah, this is looking quite competitive at the moment. It'll be interesting to see in just under 40 seconds time, what that lap time will be. Be nice to pick him up on the last sector.
Here he is.
Here. So yeah, he'll be picking his way through. This is the first push lap for him on new tyres, so got to maximise it. He's got probably another 1 or 2 laps out of this before the tyres start to fall away. Running the car right up to the barrier here. And now for this 4th gear right-hander, pick up the curb. Don't run too much exit. He does that just right there, keeps it within track limits. And now he'll just be begging and hoping for the car to come across the line nice and neatly. Just within the track limits as well also there. This should look good. A 55.0, so a competitive time to start the day.
Here he is, where he was expected to be. He's on provisional pole position, 1:55.037. As we see now a purple sector from Colin Berninghausen. Now it's Judgment Day.
It is, yes. We'll see how they manage. Obviously, I think the track conditions have improved from yesterday. Obviously, a lot less sand, and I think having that extra set of tyres at the start of the session has definitely helped to give the guys a bit more of an insight on what to expect. But Colin now is the purple car through Sector 1. He's just about to come through the beam at Sector 2, so we'll stick with him now throughout Turn 9 and see how his approach is. If we see a bit of understeering or oversteering, particularly the rear, the car seems to complain a little bit here, but keeps it well under control. The car looks settled, runs out nicely. It's now got a good slingshot to come out the exit of 9. Let's see how the sector is at 47.4. So quite competitive. Yas Marina has gone 1/10 quicker than that, but Colin's Sector 1 was really quite good. So let's see how the time is when he crosses the line.
This is the showdown of this qualifying session, and seems like Colin Berninghausen is on a fast lap, but seems like maybe it's not enough to grab pole position. Here he is. And he's on second, so he's in the front row.
Well in the mix, yeah, about 1/10.5 behind, so yeah, not too bad. Ending with a purple Sector 3 as well, so just needs to get that Sector 2 hooked together. Maybe that's to Turn 6 and 7, or maybe the hairpin at Turn 5 down the bottom of the corner. But yeah, Yas Marina is following behind, pushing on. He's about a 10th behind Colin on best laps at the moment, so he'll have that car in front, he'll be chasing it. You'll be seeing that he's losing a little bit of ground to it, so yeah, I think the guys have 1 or 2 more laps out of this tyre, and then they're going to be struggling for grip. But the positive thing is they've crossed the start-finish line with more than 2 minutes on the clock, so they'll definitely get another lap after this one.
But it's Theo Overhaus, the only one who is under 55 seconds. I mean, 1:54.977.
So yeah, it's proven the car can still do a lap time even with 3 laps into the stint. So yeah, there's a bit more optimism for these following cars who are just a little bit behind on the track schedule. So
yeah, the times are not improving anymore. At least Colin Berninghausen. Seems like he doesn't have another shot on pole position. And Jackson Walls on 4th position. So we have this man again on pole position. Theo Overhaus. It's quite amazing, the young man. He's delivering.
indeed, yeah, as it says on the side of the car, delivering speed. Certainly living up to the delivery on the car, but yeah, I think this lap time probably isn't going to be as quick as the previous. He did a 54.9 and now done a 55.1, so that's it. That proves that the tyres no longer can manage another lap. So yeah, I think we'll probably see another set of fast laps from the following drivers behind. But as James Wallace now eclipses and he gets up into P4, so that's a competitive time from him. I saw all green sectors there, so he's definitely hooked the lap together, and not many more guys are going to get another lap out of this. So if there's no greens coming up on the timing screens, it's not looking too positive.
So Jackson Walls dropped to 6th position, but yeah, James Wallace now on 4th. That's a decent, a strong result from the young man from the UK who never drove the GT3 Cup car before coming here to Abu Dhabi with slick tires. We spoke about that yesterday. That's also quite astonishing.
Yeah, hats off to him. I mean, a big 5-kilometer Grand Prix circuit with a lot of tips and tricks and little things you can do with a car here or there that can find you lap time to find himself, you know, even within the same second of Theo Overhaus, who's been driving Cup cars for a couple of years now and completed the whole series before the before we got to this round. You know, 3 rounds in, 6 races fresh. It's not a bad effort.
Well, that was not the qualifying for Jackson Walls. He's even behind Saud Al-Saud, the man who grabbed pole position in the Pro-Am class, just like yesterday. Another success for the Saudi racing team. His teammate Khaled Al-Ahmadi will be 2nd in the class and just behind Jackson Walls on 7th position. Behind him we will see Søren Sprang and Basha Madini on 9th position in the Pro-Am class. But congratulations one more time to this man. The car with starting number 34, the man in the red and yellow livery. 6 victories so far in the championship, and again on pole position. He had the 100% job in Dubai in the Autodrome with 2 pole positions and 2 race wins, and seems like he just wants to repeat that here in Yas Marina. Here we see him. Business as usual. Seems a little bit like that.
Yeah, he's getting used to this, isn't he? The team look pretty happy with it. Quick shake of the hands all round. Of course, there's no points for the qualifying, so yeah, keep the emotions contained. I'm sure it's always a relief when you do see yourself on pole position, and of course by 2/10 he'll take a lot of comfort with that heading into the race. But yeah, I think he'll definitely be working on those race starts. He'll be analysing the data because that was a weak point yesterday. So yeah, if he can ensure that the start is better than it was yesterday, and Janis Diak has a similar start to what he did, I think he'll be keeping the nose clean into turn 1, keeping ahead, and yeah, I think his pace at the moment in the race as well is looking super strong. So we shall see. But there's the Saudi racing team. Not as positive as yesterday, but still very good effort from them all round. Of course, in the Pro-Am, they are P1 and P2, so they'll take a lot of credit with that. And Saud Al-Saud is within a second, so yeah, within a second of Theo Overhaus. Good job to them.
And we've seen a strong start yesterday from Colin Böninghausen, who was almost trying to attack at the front. So now he's in the front row. That will be exciting to see when we will be back with race action. The 1:15 local time. The race then starts at 1:45. The last race here at the Yas Marina circuit.
There we see James Wallace hopping out of the car, quick shake of the hands. He seems pretty content with that. No celebrations, but I think he's definitely happy with the progress that he's made over this this week out here in Abu Dhabi.
Absolutely. 4th position, the 18-year-old man from UK. And here we see the futuristic Yas Hotel, the W Hotel, and the result. Theo Overhaus again on pole position, ahead of Colin Böninghausen and Janis Diak. 3 Germans in front. Then it's James Wallace on 4th, the fastest man in the Pro-Am class, Saud Al-Saud, ahead of Jackson Walls. And Leo Willett is on 12th, as we've seen the little incident with the man from China, from Li Chengyu. But we've seen the driver is okay, so we're hoping to see him also on the grid for today's race. So thank you very much. We are going to show you now the highlights. Thank you for joining our live stream, and we will be back at 1:15 for the second race of round 4 of the Porsche Carrera Cup Middle East here in Abu Dhabi. Thank you very much. Harry, we will hear you later on.